G'day guys, Sean here, the High Handicap Golfer. Today we're heading out to the backyard net and going to do a dry testing of the ProV1s versus the Kirklands. Going to set up, but make sure you join in. G'day guys, and we've set up and ready to go. So what we're going to do today, we're going to use a gap wedge, 7-iron and a driver. So we're going to check the different stats, I guess, spin, distance, ball speed, and I guess accuracy as well from these two balls, just from the dry data. So how we're going to do it, we're going to hit about 15 balls each one, so 30 in total, so 15 from the ProV1, 15 from the Kirkland, from one club. So probably going to alternate, it'll be probably 3 and 3. What I'll also do with the data, I'll delete anything that the Mevo Plus doesn't pick up with the metal dots, just to make sure it's fair. So there might be a few deletions in there, but it will hopefully, so there we go. Now I'm going to fast forward through a lot of these, just so we're not wasting your time. We'll get to the data in a second. All right, guys. Okay guys, done the testing with the gap wedge. Now it's going to grab the 7-iron out of the bag and we're going to move on with that. Alright guys, done with the 7-iron now, so move on to the driver. I haven't looked at the data yet, but seeing the numbers come up, it's so far pretty interesting, I think. It might be closer than I thought it was going to be. All right, stick around. Okay guys, all done with the testing. Just going to head back inside and we'll go through the data with you. I haven't looked at it myself yet, so it'll be very interesting. Catch you in a second. G'day guys, here we are back inside. What we're going to do is going to go through the data, but just let me chuck on the screen record on my laptop and then we'll swap screens over for you. Alright, so very interesting. Hit my irons pretty well today actually, but the driver couldn't get that right till near the end where I had to change my grip up a little bit. But let's check out the data. So I'll flip you over now. So now you see on the screen we have the groupings. So to be honest, they're pretty good. You can see the gap wedge there. The green is the ProV1 and the blue for the gap wedge is the Kirklands. And then the 7-iron Kirkland is white and the ProV1 is yellow. For the driver, I added a range ball in there just as a bit of a, I guess, something in between. So you've got a standard measurement, but you've got the gold colour as a range ball, the green is the ProV1 and the pink is the Kirkland. So irons were pretty accurate to be honest today. Driver, not so much. There's some way out there ones with those, but that's the life of the high handicapper. So what we'll do, we will, whoops, what is going on? We'll go a bit crazy here. We will check out the tables and we'll go through the summary as well. Update of the system now has changed everything. So let's go summary of everything. So I'll start down the bottom with the gap wedge. So we see down the bottom, it was very close looking at it. So gap wedge ProV1 versus the Kirkland. So you've got 97 meters versus 95 on the Kirkland. The rollout was not much different. Lateral, basically the same. Club speed was only a mile in it. Ball speed was a bit quicker off the ProV1. The spin was basically identical. Spin loft. Smash factor was very close, vertical, horizontal, angle of attack, everything everything on there, basically exactly the same. The only thing that I did feel, I will say with the irons, I did feel that the Kirkland was a fair bit softer. Felt like it was coming off a bit softer. So onto the 7-iron there quickly. If you need to pause this at any time, guys, feel free. And yeah, go through it yourself. But we've got the Kirkland 130, so this is meters too, so 137 meters, and the ProV1 137 meters in the 7-iron. The rollout's basically the same, so the total being the same. Lateral, Kirkland was a little bit more alright, but that was probably more me. Could have been a little bit more spin, side spin, but I'd suggest it's me. So club speed was basically identical, ball speed was basically identical. Spin, again, less than 100 RPM in it, so basically identical. Spin access was a bit more on the Kirkland, but again, that's my club delivery. So spin loft was a bit higher. Smash factor exactly the same. Where we are, ball angles, angle of attack was very similar on those. The height and flight time, basically exactly the same. So far, Kirkland versus ProV1, not seeing much difference. I'll move on to the driver now. I think there's a little bit more here, but we'll see. So you got the top, the Kirkland, the ProV1, and the range ball. So you see the range ball, the carry was a bit down, bringing the total down as well. So that's probably just compression and different balls. ProV1 and the Kirkland, so ProV1 for the driver was 207 meters carry, where the Kirkland was 209. The rollout was very similar, so total 218 meters for the Kirkland and 216 for the ProV1, basically exactly the same. Lateral on average, even though it was a wild day, the average was pretty close, which is random. So club speed, a little bit higher with the ProV1, so swinging a bit better, so for some reason, 2 miles an hour. Ball speed, that's interesting. So your ball speed is over 150 miles an hour with a lower club speed from the Kirkland. So maybe for my swing, it's compressing it better. Kirkland spun lower, which is very interesting. But again, there's less than 50 RPM in it, so it's identical. Range ball was up a bit more, so you can see my spin for my driver is probably about around 500 to 1,000 too high, and I am trying to work on getting that down. Smash factor was higher for the Kirkland. Angle of attack was very similar. Flight time, so the height of the Kirkland got a bit higher, which is interesting for less spin on average. But as you see there, you can see on the stats of the dry data that I've got, for me, and maybe for other mid and high handicappers, the Kirkland Signature V2 might be as good an option, maybe better than the ProV1. It's definitely cheaper, so better for the pocket. I'm not sure why more people aren't playing it more, but that's just me. So we see here, surprised me to be honest, because on the course I've felt like the Kirkland has been going a little bit shorter, maybe not a lot, but just a little bit shorter, and it feels like it spins up a bit more. But going off the dry ball data that we have here, I don't know. Looks like the Kirkland is the ball to buy, and there's not much difference in it for me, so there we have it. So let us know what you think in the comments, guys, if you're playing a Kirkland or a ProV1, or if you've tried them, compared them, or what ball you're playing as a high, mid handicap or low. So if you've got any balls that you want me to test out, feel free to give suggestions. I've got more videos coming of some training aids and other things, but thanks for joining in. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing them, so hopefully we can just get that information out there. All right, guys, thanks for joining in. Catch ya.